Today we're going to talk about my new book press and a process of binding called double fan binding. So I've been working on a book called The Maester's Tome, and you can see the cover here and the inside with the custom bookmark. And I'll go over that in a separate video once I've got it together, once I actually bind it. But for now, I'm going to be attaching these pages here. You see a whole stack of pages here. I'm going to be attaching that to a piece of cloth, and I'm going to use my book press to help do that. And the key to the double fan bind is that you have to be able to bend the pages. Okay, so they have to be bendable. And this is not going to be easy with these. They bend. See that's bendable right there. That's fairly sufficient. But I have some pages, like you see this last page is kind of thick, and this page is the cover page or the front page. It is definitely, this is like triple layer. It's got some embellishments on it that prevent it from bending. So this will have to be added later. This will be added later. But for the most part, all these pages don't have embellishments on them. There are some pocket pages. And again, I'll go over the details. I'll show the actual book in another video. But they need to be bendable. So I also want to show you my new book press. Let's take a look at this. I had an old leaf from an old table, my table I no longer have, that I cut 2 pieces of wood out of. And the leaf had little things that stick out that help it connect to the table, which I had to shave off. And then, what did I do? So then I took 4 rods, you can see the rods there, with a locking nut and washers. And I hand carved it so they inset a little bit. And then after I did that, I realized they still stuck out far too far, and they would scratch any surface they were on. So I cut some extra pieces, used a couple screws to screw these into the bottom board. However, making sure that the screws don't go all the way through this bottom board, because then that ruins the surface of your book press. So 2 screws to go in through here, and then some felt pads put on there so it's nice and smooth and level. And then the top, even though I screwed these 4 holes of these 2 main pieces here together, they were too small. Once I got these fixed in place, these were no longer perpendicular, so they didn't go through the holes properly. So I had to expand the size of these holes, and I hope you can see that. And so what I ended up doing was adding these little rubber washers, and then of course the final coup de grace is the wing nuts. Now, once I get this done, one of the things I want to do is turn this also into a sewing frame, and I think I'll be able to add a detachable piece up here that goes across these 2 bolts here that I can put on that will hold the strings or tape. And then you put your pages here. You have the tape that hangs down, and then I'm going to have a piece that sticks off the bottom footer there where you can adjust the tension of the strings and the tape, and then you can sew around the tape or the strings to put your signature pages, just sew them in place. But in this case, this example we're going to do today, it is a glue binding, and the reason I'm doing that is because these are not sewed signatures. These are individual single pages. These pages were originally in a ring notebook, but I tea stained them, and there's really, I could sew these, but then they will never lay flat. So the best way to then bind these so that they lay flat and make the journal more accessible, or the book more accessible, is to glue bind them. So that's what I'm going to do. So in order to glue bind, you have to jog the back of the page. This is where the glue is going to go, so you've got to get that nice and even. And I've got all kinds of pages here. I tried to cut them to size. Most of this is this lined ruled paper, but I also have in there some not cardstock, but it's like 28-pound. Here, there's one. 28-pound copier paper that has some kind of illustration on it, and it's got no holes in it. It's a little bit thicker, and then I also have some of that same copy paper that's been tea stained with pocket pages. So those have, some harder cardboard paper, not cardboard, cardstock type paper on it. So everything is not exactly perfect as far as pages, nor do I really want it to be. I want it to be close, but not perfect, because this is obviously supposed to look like an older style book. So there we go. So those are the pages. And what you do is you jog the back, the spine part, flat as you can get it. Okay, and you want to get those as even on the edges as you can. Okay. And then you want to take, see, I've already moved them a little bit, so it's gonna be difficult because this is not on springs. Some people's book presses on springs, and boy are they great. But I could not find springs to save my soul when I was shopping in the hardware stores that had any kind of real give. They were all had too much tension on them, and they wouldn't, press down far enough. So I'm thinking maybe I'm going to use something like, I'm going to use something to keep this up. Let's see. Let me find something to hold that up in place. I use these legs from a table that I cut off. It's actually this is a new craft table I got at Goodwill. It was too high. It was some kind of dinner table that was too high, so I ended up just cutting the legs off a few inches, and it was perfect. Okay, so there, that'll keep it up. Let me jog my pages again, get them right. Let's try it. That looks right. Everything is even. So what I want to do, actually as close to the spine as possible, as I'm going to. So I really want to keep the spine where it needs to be. Do that. I'm going to do that. Okay, that one's still not right. See how that's not right? I'm going to take it off. I'm going to jog it a little bit. Try it again. Better. Not even that way though. See, they're not even that way. So I'm having problems jogging my book. Never been much of a runner. Ha 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 ha. Okay, they don't have to be perfect, but as far as, I guess, this lengthwise, but they do need to be as close as you can get them aligned on the back end, like that. And it seems like when I put the clamps on it, that's when I run into trouble. So that's when I'm running into trouble. There's one. Okay, that looks good. Now let's do this one. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Now I think I can safely put the end that's not going to be glued in here. Now notice I'm not going to put it all the way up in there. I'm going to put it pretty close to the end of the pages. So now I can take these out. Okay. I don't think that's coming out of there now. I'm going to let go of those, which is fine. I'm going to turn this on its side. Okay, perfect. Now, the other things you're going to need to have, let me make sure you can see that in the camera. The other thing you're going to need to have here is some PVA glue. Let me get these clamps out of the way. PVA glue and a brush. Something to wipe your hands off on. I just got a wet paper towel here, because this can get messy, and a piece of cloth. Now, I think I'm going to tilt this a little bit. I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. I don't know if you can with it like that. So I'm going to put these legs under here. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it one way, glue it, bend it the other way and glue it, and then bend it, and then have it straight up and glue it. So that's why I said your pages have to be bendable. Now when you glue it the first way, you want to fan it as evenly as possible. And I'm having difficulties, as you can see here, because I've got a page here that's kind of stiff. So that might be an issue, but I'm going to bend it and try to glue it as best I can here. I might even do this. I don't even know if you're allowed to do this, but I'm going to do this, I think, because of that one little thing there. That'll help keep it together so it's an even fan. So you don't have big gaps. That's the problem, is the big gap. So I'm going to get those out of there. Okay, so you see that big gap, that might end up causing you problems. Okay, so I'm going to take some glue now. Try to hold that in place. And one page is curling on me. I'm going to take some glue and I'm going to apply that to the ends. Don't want to get too liberal with it, but you do definitely want to make sure that every page, every bit of it gets glue. Okay, now we're going to flip this whole thing over. We're going to bend it the other way. And knock stuff over. If we can. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to have to do it like this now. So I'm going to take this off, bend it the other way, like this. Hold it together as best I can, and start gluing again. Now I'm going to turn it so that it's straight up and down. And I'm going to stand up now so I can get to the top of this because it's kind of tall. And once again, I'm going to put some more glue on it straight up and down. And you pull down one side and then the other.
One side and then the other.
You're making fun of me.
I'm not.
Okay, I'm going to just smooth it down there, like that. And then smooth it down with your fingers. Don't mess with my computer, please.
Okay.
Okay, and now I'm going to pull it. See how I'm pulling it together and how that kind of shrinks it a little bit? Kind of pulls it all together. Pull it down. Pull it down. Again. And it's not sticking all that well. Okay. Oh, and here's my little stinker bean. Where is he? Oh, turn the camera around. There's my goober and his little Minecraft pajamas. Y'all ready to go to bed?
Yep.
Okay, it's a good boy. All right.
I never been on camera before. Just telling you.
All right, well, this is your first time. This is your big debut. All right, say bye.
Bye.
And if you like this video and want to see more, please hit my subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back here soon. Bye.